Welcome, Mr. Buntline. I am Donald Aeneas McDonnell, warden of this Kingston Penitentiary. You want to know how McDougal got caught. When he opened his ledger and nodded, I began. From what I know, it seems that police from your country and ours have been trying to capture these boys for many a year now. Though they had them a couple of times, but always seemed to lose them when they would vanish in a stand of trees or some swamp area. Seems the gang was always well prepared, had well mapped out routes of escape. I don't know what the prisoners already told you, but there was a farm on the western frontier along the St. Clair River, a farm owned by Mr. Adams. That gang of thieves seemed to think they were safe there and among the trees. Went there often between jobs. But some good law-abiding citizen told local authorities he suspected some group was probably hiding out in the woods. Day before Christmas last year, 1847, a posse of deputies were there waiting. They'd been using that area for so long that McDougal had built a cabin there. When he showed up alone that Yuletide Eve, deputies waited and watched as he entered the cabin. All took up position as they surrounded him. Figured they had him for sure. The lead deputy went up to the door to arrest McDougal, but he must have heard him coming or sensed something. As he entered the cabin, McDougal was climbing up a ladder in the middle of the cabin. As the deputy yelled, "Hold it there, you're under arrest, you've got nowhere to hide," he seemed to vanish through the roof. By the time he'd got those words out, that slippery character had disappeared through a hole in the roof, took a running leap off the clapboards, vaulted over the top of the nearest deputy outside the house, ran for the woods and along a secret path. Gone so quickly hardly any of the deputies even saw him. He'd prepared in advance by fastening a section of clapboard roof in place with a couple of leather hinges. Searched in the dark several hours, but that bush was so dense nobody could see anything. Finally gave up and went home to join their families for Christmas dinner. It was a few months later before they caught him. Soon after he'd entered his cousin's home, 4 deputies barged in, grabbed hold of McDougal. He was tough, just as they'd heard he would be. Fought all 4 of them off for several minutes. Grabbed a revolver from one of them. Wounded him. Just as it looked like the culprit might get away, another deputy circled behind and tapped him not too gently on the head with the butt of his own revolver. The outlaw leader was securely tied up hands and feet and taken to jail in Windsor. Tried him there. On the 7th day of May in this year of 1848, Lorne McDougal was found guilty of horse stealing and shooting with intent, sentenced to 8 years in this institution. Ned, I just remembered, there's a man who was fortunate enough to get his horses back, but only through his own persistence. He was around here the other day. Seems he's in Kingston on business. Checked here at the jail yesterday to make sure McDougal was really behind bars. Hadn't escaped again. Seemed to be a most interesting man. A real tale to tell about how he got his horses back from that thieving gang. His name is Raymond Bobby, and he's staying at the Kingston Arms. Tell him I sent you. Now, sir, I must attend to my duties as warden. Good day. This tale about the Missouri, Illinois, and Eastern Trading Company will conclude tomorrow with an account from a man who lived on Lot 29 along the St. Clair, a man who was able to follow this gang one night in the early 1840s and rescued 2 of his horses from their clutches.